it's hard for me to have sympathy for some of these losing franchises. There's a reason the same teams draft at the top every year. And they always feel like the Jets are up there, the Jaguars are up there. So think about Jacksonville. And I never talk Jacksonville, so this will be brief. They trade up in the draft. They have a first-time head coach, a first-time GM, a first-time offensive coordinator, a first-time defensive coordinator. They've had one little brief 3-day camp. You don't even know your personnel good enough yet to make a massive trade. Not to mention Travis Hunter is unbelievably talented, but you got to deal with that offense-defensive pivot thing. Like Jacksonville, you don't know your personnel well enough yet to make a massive trade. You got first-time GM, coach, coordinators. How about you go through a camp or two? Huge swing, overcompensate. And Cleveland, which needs a future quarterback. I mean, can you just say Arch Manning? They now have 2 potential top 10 picks in next year's draft, which is a significantly better draft than this one. So Cleveland's like, yeah, we'll take picks for next year. This is a bad draft. I mean, this was not a very good draft. So, I mean, to me, Cleveland, and Cleveland, by the way, also now has 2 of the 4 first picks in round 2. So Cleveland ends up getting a first-round pick, and then they get, potentially today, Travion Henderson running back, Will Johnson, and they already got Mason Graham. And they'll have Jacksonville's first-round pick. Cleveland set themselves up beautifully.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, because I understand what Colin is saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I just want to offer kind of a counter perspective to this, because I get it, right? Your new coaching staff, right? New coordinators, new GM, you all the main guys in the building, not players wise, the guys that are really making decisions that are going to, either grow the team, improve the team, acquire the team, just all the suits and ties and coaches and staff, like it's all new, right? It's all new. And so if you're looking at it, which Colin definitely is, from like a business perspective, right? It's like if you bring in like a new CEO, CFO, you don't have someone come in there and they just start slashing and just making moves right away, right? They go in there, they want to look at the books, they want to take a second, they want to be like, hey, what's our best sellers? What are our worst sellers? Like, let's kind of figure this stuff out, for a second. But sometimes you can make the argument that just getting in there, gutting everything, and taking big swings for a business, a franchise, a team that has struggled for so long, that you kind of do have to get after it. And if you believe in who you hired, if you believe in the GM, if you believe in the coaching staff, and you believe in Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback, which is why you paid him the $200 million or whatever, whatever the official final number was, then you take the swings that you take. And to me, whether this ends up being right or wrong, because again, right, it's so hard to gauge how much, like, honestly, when it gets boiled down to it, outside of a quarterback, it always feels so hard to know, like, how much do you give up for another player, right? How many wins is a Travis Hunter worth? Now, to be very clear, I do not think he's going to play both sides of the ball. I'm very firm on that. He is not going to be able to play full-time on both sides of the ball, or a substantial amount of time, and make a substantial amount of impact on both sides of the ball. So I'm not even looking at it through that lens. So, but I think, though, that if you reach the conclusion that you trusted the guys who you hired, who are running your team, the coaching staff, the coordinators, etc., and these are the decisions that you made, then I'm kind of like live and die by it. Yeah, I'm very much kind of like, these are the choices that you made, and so let's just see what the outcome is. Like, let's just see, and if it's right or wrong, it's your choices. I don't think you gain any extra points to be like, okay, this is the first year, let's take a second. What if the Commanders took a bigger swing in the draft last year? They got Jaden Daniels and they did a bunch of other stuff. Could they have built an even better team? What if they just really trusted Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury? They knew they were getting Jaden Daniels. What if they were even more aggressive? Is it possible that they could have beat the Eagles in the conference championship game and then potentially won the Super Bowl. I mean, definitely. I mean, it's hard to remember exactly what type of moves they could have made, because you would have to look back in, an offseason as, who else was available. They could have got Saquon Barkley, for instance. They could have, again, you'd have to do some salary cap and take a look at all that type of stuff. But it's quite possible they could have went all in. They could have said, dude, we got Dan Quinn. We got Cliff Kingsbury. We know the Chicago Bears are going to get Caleb. We're going to get Jaden Daniels. Let's get out there. Let's make a play. We're going to go get Saquon Barkley. We're going to go out and get, hey, the Ayuk was on the board. Ayuk was on the trading block. There was already rumors that he could go to the Commanders. And then he goes there. Now they have another weapon. Right? Like who knows? Like, honestly, who knows? Those are real conversations. And you could have made the same argument. You're doing too much. You're making a trade for Ayuk. You don't even know who your quarterback is yet. Listen, I know Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback, but, he's a rookie. And now you're already paying your wide receiver all this money. Like, you could always make that argument. But if you have belief, look, I love Cliff Kingsbury, but he was fired. They couldn't get him fast enough out of Arizona. You understand what I'm saying? You can always paint the argument. So, again, I'm not going to stand firm and say this was an amazing move by the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I have enough humility to just be like, I don't know, man, let's wait and see. That's really what this draft is as a whole. I can make every single video and just be like, wait and see. Like, it is actually kind of funny that, when you watch the draft, and I'm going to say this a few times, but, when you watch that draft, right, I did the live stream, and I have it in my ears, and just after every single pick, they're just like, oh, a lot of people had this guy as a top 10 pick. A lot of people figured this guy could be top 5. Hey, man, this is clearly one of the best, linebackers, tight ends, safety, whatever, in the draft. Like, every single guy, apparently all 32 picks were top 5 picks. It's, pretty remarkable. So, yeah, it's a wait and see situation. And I think when you bring in a new regime that the Jaguars did, I'm kind of like, let's see what you got. I'm like, yeah, let's see what you got. There's no culture here. There's no precedent here. This franchise has not really achieved anything in the last forever. Go do what you got to do it. You're the new regime. You're the new coach staff. You're the new GM. You're ushering in a new era. Do whatever you want, honestly. Just do what you want and see what happens. That's kind of my logic at that point. Now, if there was more of a foundation for them to build off of, like if for some reason, this new regime took over for the 49ers, the Eagles, the Bills, I don't know, some sort of where there was more of a foundation, then I'm kind of like, maybe you're doing too much here. But I'm like, I don't know. And like I said, it's hard for me at this point in time to be like, Travis Hunter, how much does he move the needle for a team in terms of where you are, especially when you look at a team like the Jags, who had inconsistent coaching, inconsistent quarterback play, whether because of himself or because of injuries. So it's just always hard to really gauge and look at a team and be like, what do you have here? Which is then the argument to be like, well, then why would you make such a big trade for Travis Hunter? Because you don't know what you have. But again, that's where you're trusting your staff. You're trusting your new coach. You're trusting your GM. You're trusting them to be like, okay, you're supposed to be a big deal. You're ushering in a new era for us. So go do it. And so it's just a wait and see type of situation more than anything. Which again, nobody ever wants to say that post draft, and I'm going to say that a lot in my videos because everybody always wants these definitive conclusions. And again, it's like, all right, everyone's so confident about their conclusions, yet over 50% of first round picks don't even get their fifth, their option picked up. They don't even get a second contract. They struggle to stay in the league. So there's a ton of swings and misses all around the NFL. And a lot of the teams that are consistently great, like Colin is saying, it's true. They're constantly drafting at the bottom and they're making awesome drafts, but they also already have a head start because they already have a deep foundation. It's a lot easier to draft when your quarterback is Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. It's just when you already have this foundation. Once upon a time, people thought not too long ago that, again, getting Derrick Henry was a big swing for the Ravens, that getting Saquon Barkley was a big swing for the Eagles, that getting Jalen Carter was a big swing for the Eagles because of like all the issues that he had. They're like, I don't know, is this a reach here? Maybe, because they already have a good locker room that they'll be able to bring in Jalen Carter, but I don't know. Like, there was questions. Jalen Hurts, drafting him in the second round, was like, what are you doing? You just paid Carson Wentz all this money. So there's always that feeling of lots of swings. And they're just not always clear. I saw a compilation video that I'll play on one of my videos where it's showing like all the fans of previous drafts of them freaking out. And it's like you see, Josh Allen, you see the Buffalo Bills fans so angry. Patrick Mahomes, one guy's like, this is why we're never going to win a Super Bowl. Like people are constantly complaining about kind of how the draft goes. And, it was one for Josh Allen. One was for J.J. Watt, Patrick Mahomes, and I forget what the fourth one was, but it's just people. Oh, Jalen Hurts, right? It was Jalen Hurts, right? And so it was just like, all these picks that people were like, this is the dumbest pick ever. Why are you doing this? And then, it worked out. So, it's always interesting to see such confident takes post draft, and it's like a lot of people are really confident with it, with where the picks went or they didn't go, and it's like, there's no way to really know until it happens, which again, nobody wants to seemingly say that out loud on TV because they think it's kind of weak, but it's the reality. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Jacksonville Jaguars trading up to get Travis Hunter? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.